Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am the Badass Buddha, Lori Monaco, coming from a beautiful Eastern Tennessee where it is chilly and the light hasn't even come out fully yet. And here we are. And you are, my friend?
I am La Margarita, coming to you from Tampa, Florida. I'm still in Florida, and the sun hasn't come up that much either over there. And it's been nice. It's been cool. There's been a cool breeze here, so I can't complain about the weather here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yes. So you're not in Satan's, what you used to say it called?
Hell's waiting room.
Well, good morning, everyone. And not that we have anybody on this morning.
No one's on. Oh, that's right.
Shows up. We had technical difficulties. It's very interesting. It's almost like there was a boycott saying, no, we don't want you. Either we want you to go or we just don't want you on here anymore. I don't know. But go ahead and share it, Gladiator Guru, because I'm going to share mine.
Yes. Since
I'm not seeing anybody as of yet. The only one that's on there is me. So I guess people aren't used to the fact that we started earlier today. Let's say it's probably because of that. So I'm going to share it on mine. All right. Oh my God, can I spell? So we'll see. We'll see what comes on. God, they ask you all these questions now. It's like, remember how easy it was to remember when you used to start a watch party?
Yes.
That was fantastic. That was absolutely fantastic. Might as well share it on my personal page too.
Okay. So I also put it on Snapchat.
Oh, didn't even think to do that. It stinks that you can't use links in Instagram, right? Because that would be fantastic. But I guess we could try it, right? Did you post on Instagram as well?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't posted on Instagram good morning, Editza. Hooray. Oh yeah, you can't even.
The first one on, bienvenida.
Yep, our welcome wagon. Let's see. Let me see how to do this. It's like as if I'm doing this for the first time ever. Give us a minute. Here we go. Oh my goodness gracious.
My glasses, guess what? I can see very well with these glasses.
I love those on you. You look so stylish.
I bought them at the Dollar Tree.
You bought them at the Dollar Tree?
At the Dollar Tree. What I finally got right is because it's the Dollar Tree. I had where I'm $250 per the eye doctor. I bought $325, and it's like if I have these expensive whatever with the bifocals in them supposedly, but no. So yeah, don't second guess things from the Dollar Tree. Just I guess you have to go up a size in some stores because their size are really a medium when there should be a large. But yeah, I can see good. I read good and everything. So thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
You get this stuff. Join us on Facebook or YouTube live at Viva Cafe con Leche. Here we go. See if that works. All right.
So yes, Iritza, thank you for being the first one.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Pretty much the only one. Boy, that's a good welcoming. That's a good way to end the show, is to just have no. Oh, there we go. We got. Oh no, there we go.
Iritza, you can't give a compliment.
Argenta good morning, and Lynn Lowe, good morning. Thank you. We're starting to get a little complex, thinking that people wrote us off last week. So they were done last week. They didn't need to come. We didn't need to come.
Look,
on
Iris gave me a left-handed compliment. She complimented my glasses, and then she insulted me. Much better than Miss Doubtfire ones. Like, you either give a compliment or you don't, but you don't give one to them slide a remark like that in. Okay, Iritza?
Good morning to my sister, Leanne. Good morning. And let me just get everybody. So talk while I do this. I just want to type in everybody that's here, because we had such a little bit of a hiccup starting.
That lime water is a little tart. Of course.
Let's talk about, give everybody like a heads up on like what we're going to talk about today, and so on and so forth.
We're going to talk about how awesome I am and how fantastical that I have become. And we're going to talk about I'm just so happy you are all on. But really, we're going to talk about how awesome I am and how fantastical I have become throughout these 4.5 years of Viva Cafe con Leche.
I didn't agree to that.
So that is what we're going to talk. If for those that are on right now, try to think back to what was your favorite episode. I mean, I lost count. The Badass always took care of the number of shows we've had, but 4.5 years, 2 shows a week. That is a lot of shows. And let me tell you, in between all the laughter and some tears, because we did have them, I know that we each can come up with at least the top 3 favorites that we've had, if not the favorite. And I was trying to go through them last night, but I can't. I'm biased. I was like, oh my God, but this one has this and that one has that.
Oh, I know.
And so, I mean, they were all, and when we had the guests.
I think if I'm going to interrupt, I'm going to interrupt. It's not if. I'm going to interrupt. If
Go ahead and do it already then.
No, it didn't land. It was supposed to be funny. We're supposed to laugh. Good morning, Kathy. So it was, some of my favorite ones were when we would have the guys on.
Yes, I was just going to say that.
Yes, I always loved when Ephraim would come on. It was always very flirty and sexy, and he was always a fan favorite. Like, all the women absolutely loved when he was on. I loved when we had Pookie on, and I loved when we had Byron on, and Byron was just the dynamics, especially between you and Byron, were just so funny, because he was always like at you, calling you out and stuff like that. And it was just, but in a beautiful, friendly, fun way, so it was wonderful. And it was nice because we had that little balance. We had that testosterone element, and it was always very exciting. We've had some annoying guests on a few times. We've had some
very long-winded sleeping disorder,
and just like even just annoying, not even just boring, but annoying. Where after we finished the broadcast, Gladiator and I would talk about it and go, yeah, that person will never be on this show. totally did not vibe at all. And it's interesting where when you have we used to have pre-interviews with people before we would bring them on. And remember, we used to do all this. We used to do this whole thing, like we would set up the interviews, and so we would do these pre-interviews, and they would be one way sometimes, not all, like it's just a handful of people, probably like maybe 5 people. they would be one way on the pre-interview and then entirely different on the show. And there was this one particular person. I'm not going to say her name, and I don't remember it anyway, but we told her exactly what we were going to talk about. We had the discussion on there, and she was an individual that was like mental health specialist, and we get her on, and everything we start to talk about, she's like, yeah, I can't talk about that. Or that's,
oh my God.
Do you remember that? You don't remember that? Because you were really pissed at the end of that show. Like, you were like, oh my God, we kept having to ask and pull stuff out of her. And then she would redirect it because she didn't want to get into detail about that. We weren't asking for specific cases. We were asking for examples, like of experiences. Could have even been stuff that you learned when you were in school, but not specific stuff. But it was just so funny. I was like, oh my goodness, that it's so interesting to see how different somebody could be in the interview, the pre-interview, and then once on the actual show.
Yes, that was one of my worst ones, because I felt she wasted our time, and
Yes.
I'm not too keen on people wasting my time. I do enough of that shit on my own. So it's yes, I can say she was one. I was gonna say when you decided to tell me you were gonna interrupt me.
Yes. I think I told you. At least I told you.
You just interrupt. That was funny. That it was the guys. We had some phenomenal women on, like Bridget Williams. I always loved when she came on. When we first started, we had Lillian and we had Francia. I mean, my daughter was one of the second show on.
Yes.
So we had some amazing guests on, people we knew. How about the ones that didn't show up?
That happened. Oh, wasn't it one time? Was that one guy? Wasn't it?
From New Orleans that I met in New Orleans. Yeah.
That's right. Oh boy, you really laced into him too. That was like, you made him look like such an asshole. He was until he promised, like up until, remember you checked on him and you're like, you're coming? And here's the thing. And then you reached out to him while we were online. And then didn't he get back to you like hours later?
Yeah.
And he said something like, oh, I thought it was 8 p.m. I think that's what he said. And you're like, you wouldn't let him go because you were like, no, I told you it was the morning. And I blah, because he was in New Orleans. So, right, they would have been an hour behind, I think. But you're right. He did contact when he knew the show was over. So, I mean, we've experienced the highs, the lows. The show was over. We've experienced people that were just outright rude, like a lady who did the most getting my name wrong, and then when I kept correcting her, said, "But what's the difference?" Yeah. And remember? Oh my God. And I'm like, I'm sitting here going, oh no, this is not a good conversation, because I know how you are with that. What about the one that she was the fashion lady? So she would tell women what to wear in business because she was an expert. And in my head, I'm thinking, really, what makes an expert? Because she would like ask you questions, and then she would look at you and all this stuff. And I've seen how she's dressed a few people, and I was looking at that going, I would have never worn styles like that. And you and her were getting into it because she kept insisting that black wasn't a color. Yes. Yeah. And she was all pinked out. She was so mad, and by the end she was kind of like more quiet. Yeah. But that rarely happened. Usually we had a great time with our people. Yeah, we did. But the thing is, what's the beauty of even when you can't connect with somebody is knowing that there are people you will not connect with. I take that as life lessons. It don't matter if it's through
we did the interviews through Zoom, was it?
In the beginning. Oh no, the Zoom. Yeah, the Zoom was the interviews. Yeah.
So I mean, and you meet them, but the energy's there, and when I say the time, it's like energy is currency. So we have to. So all of that we took into, and let me tell you, they were interviews that happen in all hours of the day. Not late in the evening, but it's like, okay, I know. I found these today. I found these in my box here. You see my messy coffee. I got to go heat it up again. Hey, Gail.
Good
So
morning,
I mean, I think they were all lessons, because you know what, I don't know how people say black isn't a color, but I'm gonna let them have it. They're the experts. I don't give a shit. Black is my color, and you go and you learn, and then there's some people you just leave them right where you met them, and you could have met them 5 seconds ago, and you're like, oh no, this motherfucker's staying right here, and you move on. And you learn, and every day you learn that you don't have to attach yourself to everybody you meet. Everybody you meet is not your best friend.
That's
Everybody
right.
you meet is not your enemy.
Yes.
Just let the energy speak for itself. The energy will guide you. You know in an instant whether you're going to like somebody or not. You're going to spend 6 months with them. And so listen to yourself. And I think throughout Viva's time here, I think that's the messages that we've always wanted to put out, and the guests that would speak on these things, and Gail Craft writing her book on the flow. You have to
shift and flow.
Be the CEO of your life. You got to be the leader of your life. You got to be the team leader. You got to be the person, the head of the group. And for you have to learn how to take things, and when things aren't going your way, or when you've tried all day to do something, I'm speaking from experience for what happened since I've been here dealing with an issue, and every effort you put forward, it's like the wave came and pushed your ass back to the edge of the pool, and you smile, you know what, I did what I can today, let me see what happens tomorrow. And that's what I did, and that's how I handled it. It worked out better than I expected, better than I was going to take a different route. And when I came back, I said, let me just check this out one more time, one more again. And it was cheaper than what this person where I was going to go with. And it was better because it's from the actual name brand of what I was doing. And you smile. I smile. Like, I've learned to smile. And if Iris could talk, she would tell you that even in Spain, when somebody would get like a little non-Margie-ish, right? I would look at her, and I would just look at her, Badass.
The Urban Dictionary.
Pretend you're Iris, and I would look at her and go, like deadlock eyes, like she was the safe zone for that person, not for me, but for that person. And throughout that, and you learn that when you smile, it just changes everything about you. It's like somebody put a wand over you and said, be happy, because you smile, and I guess those endorphins or whatever else, they immediately go into effect for you. And so that's what I've learned with Viva. Viva's finale, because wow. Everybody in the comments that agree, say something. Hasn't it been a journey? Hasn't it been a journey?
Yes.
The different guests that we have had on, the different wardrobes that we have had, the different places we have filmed from. Like, we never gave up on Viva. Our Janice asked a question, why are we canceling the show? I don't think we're canceling the show. I just think that this chapter has gracefully come to right now to where we're at today. It's the end of this chapter, but we're not saying the book is finished.
Right.
It's just, we're 4.5 years in, and this chapter, that's it, no más for this moment. And so the learning, the sharing, the growing, the laughter, the tears, because the Badass Buddha and I have both lost parents during this show.
Yeah.
She's lost uncles, I've lost cousins.
I lost my dad. What are you talking about? My uncles. I lost my dad.
That's what I said. We both lost parents. That was the first thing.
Oh, I thought you said uncles. I'm like uncles.
No,
yeah.
And then you've lost some uncles, and I've lost some cousins.
Yeah, actually, let me see.
And an uncle.
Well, we started in 2020. I think it was just my dad that I lost. I don't know if my sister's on. But the year before that, like we lost like 5 family members in 2019. But yeah, you're right. I mean, like in other words, a lot has happened. Yes.
Yes, and we've never given up.
Yeah.
You know, we've always come, the dedication we've had to the decisions we individually made to be a part of Viva. And then the excitement and the commitment to the viewers, to the tribe, you know, and we showed up in our darkest moments to let you know that there's nothing that can stop you from reaching the heights that you were born to reach. You know, things are going to happen. Things around you are going to fall apart. You know, you're going to be asked for a divorce, or you're going to ask for the divorce, or whatever happened in all of your lives while Viva was on. But we maintained. And I think that's what that's what we poured into Viva, because by pouring it into Viva, we also poured into ourselves. So, you know, we learned the learning, the sharing, the growing, the laughter, the tears, the losses, and the gains. Because how many of us have either expanded the business we were in when we started, created new ones, changed. I mean, like when I was in here, I'm doing Naturally Orgasmic Cafe, and then boom, my life changed in a lack of a heartbeat. I better stop joking about my son's father. He's going to be mad at me. But then now I'm in Connecticut, right? And I'm like, okay, now what? Now I have Déjate Querer, Temple Tea Company. Now I'm an herbalist, an herbal artista, I would like to say. Not an herbalist,
very nice.
Herbal artista. And I never thought that I would do that, even though I'm bringing all my coffee roasting stuff back to Tampa, to Connecticut tomorrow. But what I'm saying is, the fear really wasn't the gatekeepers during these 4.5 years. You know, they were intimidating, trying to intimidate us when we either were launching something new, trying to figure out something, you know, learning. But we traveled them together. We empathized with one another. We celebrated and we evolved because of everything we have been through during the 4.5 years as a tribe with Viva Cafe con Leche. And building a tiny house was that. I got divorced during the Viva years, freedom, enlightenment to reach Eastern Tennessee. Henny said, can we expect a spin-off show individually? I don't think so, because we already had her show that we had before Viva. And I have moments called Margarita that I both did.
Yeah.
But so I will probably do some interviewing, because I do want to interview my granddaughter, Anaya. I was watching her these couple of days, and I think she is just the most phenomenal individual, human, that I can call family, because just for everything. Listen, she came here yesterday morning and she borrowed some paintbrushes because her and her boyfriend were going to the Causeway in Clearwater, and she wanted them to paint. Now, whenever Savannah, God bless her, and Naya's like, oh, let's go paint, hesitate, because she is a brilliant artist, and we fall very short unless I'm doing an abstract. So she came back to return the brushes in the evening. I'm like, why did you waste your gas? This came out of a bag from a Walmart bag of little brushes. They were cheap. And she said, because I may not see you tomorrow, and I just wanted to make sure I got my last hug. Like, who, what is she, 2021?
2022. She can be 22.
So who would do that? Like she could have got on the highway in Clearwater and made it to Spring Hill.
Yeah.
Much less time than driving back over here. But she's phenomenal. So yeah, honey, we will probably still be active on our individual shows that we had prior to Viva. But like I said, it's the finale of this chapter, not of the book. So right now, we have things that we have to participate in full-heartedly for the involvement. What would you say, Badass? Can you talk? I'm listening, but I gotta heat up my coffee, mi gente.
Oh, you're gonna let me talk? Oh, I'm so happy.
Yes, the floor is yours, baby girl.
Oh, notice only because she's gonna go heat up her coffee.
That's
but other
it.
than that, so yeah, we actually talked about the idea of doing like an evening special one night, maybe doing like a 2-hour special in a few months or something like that. But the morning show, the twice a week, although we didn't do twice a week this month, but the morning shows, we're gonna move away from that, and then we'll do something like that where we'll just pop up like slut magic, like Gladiator Guru always says. And then we've also we've been talking about for 2 years now to write a book called Viva Your Vida, and it's about a lot of the topics that we talked about the whole time that we've been on the show. So we still want to do that piece of it. And we think that it would be just a lot of fun, and it would just bring out basically all the things that we discussed and laughed about and were serious about and had discussions on. It'll be in a book form. And then who knows, maybe we'll do like a once a year Viva party. We've talked about that as well. We had said that we would love to do like a Viva get together where everybody comes for like a weekend or one day or just one night of having a good time. And I know everybody's all over the place. They're in different parts of the country, even sometimes different parts of the world. But if we put something together like that, then that would be a lot of fun as well. And just have like a Viva live, it's sort of like when a show leaves Broadway, the last night on Broadway, but then they go on the tour, like then it's like it's touring the country. So maybe we'll do that. But I wanted to say this, that we have had 4. So this is our 5th season, but we've been doing this for 4.5 years. We've had 343 shows.
Wow.
That's how many shows that we have done.
343. We got to play that number. Play that number, mi gente.
343 shows. And it's evolved so much. It's looking at the conversations that we had in the beginning, where the titles were just insane and the conversations were just insane for that first year. And then we started to up our game a little bit and change things out, where we would have guests for the second year very regularly on Thursdays. Tuesday would be us, Thursday would be guests. Then in the third year, we opted not to have as many guests, and we opted to have it like a 1-year-long coaching session where we were just going through, like we remember we quartered it so that we had for this quarter we were doing this, and for this quarter we were doing that. And then for this year, we sort of went back to winging it without our guests, but still like personal development. So I think the thing that I missed from our original show was the crazy conversations, like we looking back,
orgasms,
we had some masturbation,
we had
some very bold titles back then, and bold conversations.
Yes.
And I'm not 100% sure why we got away from that. I think it was partly because we started to run out of ideas for that bold thing. And we also felt we were in a different direction, where we wanted to kind of to be more focused on empowering those that were watching, which we're hoping that we did just that. Hard to say.
What you said, let me just butt in with what you said. Listen, it's not that we decided. We at Viva, we always went with the flow and what we felt, yes, right. And sometimes we go in a direction that we don't understand, or it's like, why am I going this way? A lot of people don't understand why I do, or say the things I say, and how I just how I move sometimes. But it's because it's not me. I follow the vibrations, the frequencies that I go on. I always pray to Father Yahweh to lead the way. Give me clarity and direction. Give me clarity and direction. And I tell him like this, I say, because me, I'm all over the place and I'm going to miss the signs. And whoever the universe, if you just, the frequencies and vibrations, which are just a part of it. And this is what we did. And then we realized it after we started it, Badass. We were like, oh, we took a different route, but it felt right. It felt right. Like that was our year of sharing the knowledge that we had gathered throughout our trainings, throughout our experiences as life coach. And then, it was listening from all of the tribe and the Badass and I sharing our stories. We each got to hear it on a different platform. Like instead of just when we talk on the phone, we heard it as we're watching each other on this live. And I think that's what we need to do when you feel like you got to share something with someone, whether it be a stranger in the line, at the grocery store, at a bus stop, whatever. You see somebody like, guys, there's a message. You feel you got to just say hello and see where it goes. Do it, because you never know who you're teaching or what the hell you're going to learn. Yeah. And it was only that one lifetime moment for you to do so.
Yes.
I hope, I'm really, when the Badass Buddha and I were talking last night, I was like really hoping that for those that needed their cup filled, I really hope we did that for you. I really hope that Viva Cafe con Leche filled your cup.
Yeah.
And fed your spirit, because that was our mission without us realizing what it's our mission. And until we started to feel very exhausted, because when we pour and we pour and we pour, we do, then we realized that it was just time. Like, for every beginning, there's an end for new beginnings. And that's where Viva Cafe con Leche is right now. And one of my favorite quotes, and don't ask me who wrote it because I don't know, but it wasn't me, when they say, endings are sad, yet necessary. And again, this is where we're at right now. But if we don't end something because we're afraid of the sadness, then where are we? What are we? So I believe that Viva, it's not gonna disappear. I believe we have things that we're gonna do. Henny said he missed those, and Leanne, of course, I owe you coffee.
He said he's missed the masturbation conversation.
Yes. And Gail, I hope
you can go back. It's still on Facebook. You could go back and look.
Gail says she's ready to hold the circle in the spring in Tennessee. Yep. Thank you, Kathy. Frank Panero's on.
I didn't see him, but all right. Oh yeah, there he is. Yep, I didn't say hi. Let me write that in there.
So share your experiences. Did anybody write which one was their favorite show, or because that's even off the top of your head? We've had many. That's it. Did you say anything else? We've had many good ones. We had some so-so ones, but I have always, no matter what it was, no matter where we was always there. And if I was in the middle of a farm that was just laid out with what is that they lay out? The fertilizer. Oh, Maron, do they love their cow fertilizer? But I remember the time I had to reach my phone in between something just to get a little bit of someone's Wi-Fi, just so I can send a message. And I made it on the show that day. Because it was like we still had to get into the village. And they were fun. At the moment, they didn't seem like fun. Because when you're tired and you're walking several hours and you're still.
Oh, yeah.
But it was the challenge, manure, yes. But the challenge. Thank you, Yolanda. And that manure was strong. Maron. The challenges of getting somewhere. It was quite frustrating. If we're honest, it was fucking frustrating. What the fuck? I can't believe that. Then you get there, you get on the show, and it's like, brrr, you're talking, and the time goes fast, So, one of the questions in my journal is, if you can be anything, what would you wear? That question it's not only for clothes, it's for everything. And in those moments that I hated the way I looked after walking, God knows how many kilometers in Spain, to then come on Viva looking like a freaking vagabond, and my cheeks and my hat, but we still did it. I still got on and we still did that show. And how about the day I lost my glasses on the mountain and I couldn't see shit, but we're on Viva in some cafe and people looking at me as they're walking by. And that was the fun part, because you do what you got to do with what you have until you get to what
Nice,
you want,
Nice, Gail. Very nice. Gail's wearing the sexy seductive.
Ah.
How about that? Would you wear that hiking? Gail. Yes, Gail would. She would tango her way up the mountain, I would imagine. I think that one of the greatest things, and we've talked about this before on the show, but Gladiator Guru, I've talked about this a lot off camera, is the amount of engagement that we received from the tribe. And it's interesting because we watched it change as we progressed. Like the first year, we had a lot of comments, but it was more to what was happening within that, like the people that were on and so on and so forth. And then in the second year, we started to notice the empowered, engaging comments, people asking questions, people sharing their stories. And we saw that evolve, and it was very cool. And we would sometimes get off the show and we would chat for another 30 minutes, while we're on the video call that we're on. Like we would close the live feed and then we would talk, and we would talk about what we saw because we could still see the comments, even though we weren't live anymore. It still stays on our feed, on our side. And we would talk about that. Oh, this, and then we would talk about how each of you would respond to each other. And that became, I would say, really especially noticeable towards the end of last year, like the end of last year. And then throughout this year, where people would just jump in and support one another. And that was the beauty of it, because it's not, we didn't come up here just to hear ourselves talk. We came up because we we had stuff to say and we wanted to share it, and we always wanted engagement. And it took a little time, but we did get the engagement, and then it took a life of its own. And that's the thing, is just the Gladiator Guru would always say, is that sometimes you're the teacher, but sometimes you're the student. And there was plenty of times where feed would come up and I learned something new from all of you. And that's the beauty of it, is to be able to look at this. Oh, I didn't even know that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that was really helpful, what you said, because that's what we are all about. We don't know everything. That's why I cringe when somebody says the word expert. I cringe because there's always somebody that knows more than that person. So when they self-proclaim and go, they're an expert, maybe it's me, maybe it's my own stuff, but I don't like that particular word. I like using the word specialize, because you do, you specialize in this, but you're not an expert necessarily, because there's always going to be somebody that knows more. And then where does that put you in the lineup? So, but to each his own. If they want to say they're an expert in that, that's on them. I just think that there's always so much more to know and understand about the world. And when we top ourselves off with that kind of title, it shuts us down from learning, because we sort of say, it's sort of not saying that that's how people think when they call themselves experts, but to me, I'm thinking it seems that they're saying, I know, so you wouldn't know. You would have nothing to contribute. And I have, over the years, had people contribute insight, mind-blowing insight to me. And if I used my quote idea of who people are based on my experiences, my perception, you know what I'm saying? Like, in other words, you look at somebody and you're like, oh, they must not, they're like a homeless person. I'm just using this as an example. They're like a homeless person, so what could they know? Or they're this person, what could they know? It's natural for us to just automatically do that, because we go with our what we know and our exposure and our experiences. Mm-hmm. And then it gets us to go beyond that, to look at the person beyond what we're seeing. So when I love having my mind blown by people that I initially have a concept or opinion about or judgment about, and then something comes out of their mouth and it's just like, holy crap, like I am so humbled because that was just so beautiful. And I needed to hear that because I had an idea or an expectation of what they were or should be based on my experiences and my judgment. And I'm humbled by that. Same goes for individuals who come across as they're all together and they have all this intelligence and they're so smart and they know everything. To also be humbled by the fact that they don't always. And I look at that and very quietly, it's not, I try not to let the ego get in the way of it. It's more like quietly say, it's a reminder to say, just because somebody has more education, more money, more whatever, doesn't mean they know everything. Because it's insight is it's the information you take in and then you learn it, you experience it, then you take it in and then you mull through it and then you create. And some people can learn and never have great insight because that's all they're so tunnel visioned.
Well, yes, and also discernment plays a main role in this because what you touched on was very important. And when I speak, see, you know what I've noticed? That people wait for me to mess up to bring it up. Like they're so excited they can have something on it. So through experience, I see Gail wrote that by experience. And I have to remind people that I'm human just like them. I just walk in confidence because when I speak on a certain subject, it's because I lived it. I experienced it. I do my research on things. You know, yesterday I found out something because I usually rinse with peroxide. Now I did my research on it, but then you forget because it works so well. And so when it was brought to my attention, Irita actually brought it to my attention. I was like, how could I forget something so important like this? Because it took me away from what I thought was worse than the reaction that this had. Okay. But people do. They wait just so that they can say, oh, that doesn't look right on you because of confidence. So when people say they're an expert, they can be an expert in anything regarding them. I'm not an expert in anything. I just drink coffee and know shit. And that's it.
But that's
when I'm speaking on something, and when I'm speaking on something, again, it's because I either took a training on it.
Yes.
Was in a group of people and learned the both sides of that coin, or I fucking lived it and had to patch up my wounds.
Yes. Yep.
And so I agree with you with the expert stuff. But if I'm an expert on anything, I'm an expert on me. Because you know what? I fall on my face more than I can stand up straight half the time. But guess what? You wasn't paying attention to me, or I do it so swiftly because I know me and I know how quick I can get up and how fast I can fall down. That's the expertise of my life. So you go on and you do that. I think learning is such a beautiful thing. You said something earlier that's really important. I don't remember exactly verbatim what you said, but it's also when people say, at least I'm trying. Well, I'm trying.
That does annoy me.
Trying is such a pathetic excuse, and I'm sorry for whoever uses it or whoever disagrees with me. Let's agree to disagree. When you have lied to yourself so much that word is so prevalent in your life, you already think you did it because the word try, every time you say it, is convincing you that it's done.
Yeah.
And you haven't even initiated, you haven't broken through the first barrier of changing. So what you're doing is you're taking stuff you're hearing and you're reading and you're applying it. And now you believe that you got your double master's degree in that change that was supposed to happen gradually so that it settles in within you. But all that is what we taught here. And trying is a backdoor to say, well, this is one. Exactly. I hate that word. That's like can't. Like my grandkids, all of them, except the little one, she can't talk yet. But they could never say can'ts in front of me. Because we were allowed to say can't. We were allowed to say, I don't want to go to school today. So school wasn't such a major importance with us growing up. And with them, when they say I can't, like put their shoes on the right feet. We don't use that word. Can't mean you won't. So put them on right, damn it. That's the grandmother that I am. So, and you know what? They do. Some are less quick than others, but they do. But stop coming up with excuses for yourself. If you've learned anything in the 4.5 years with Viva Cafe con Leche, with all the experiences that the Badass Buddha and I've shared, we've shared such deep, vulnerable information so that you could not believe that you were by yourself in any situation similar or the same.
Right.
So we shared, we were an open book with our pains, with our eras in life.
Please, how many times did I even? I mean, I can't even tell you. Like you're very outspoken, but Gladiator Guru and I were having a conversation about this yesterday, and I was kind of what's the word? Just kind of spewing some stuff that I was upset about yesterday on the phone. And people, you say what you say, and you always back it up. And I have found for me that. It seems like when I say something, there's so many people that end up having a problem and they have to tell me that they're unhappy with what I said. So it's like I can't have an opinion. And I'm usually very mindful about things. I use a lot of discernment, and every so often I will come out something a little bit more specific. And it's interesting because I've gotten called out a couple of times, even on this show, where I've said something and a backlash hit me, and it was quite the learning experience for me. And I had to make a decision, do I back up what I'm saying, or do I agree to the fact that I made not a mistake, I hate that word, that I made a poor choice, or I made a choice at that time that ended up not being a good choice. Because sometimes at that moment, you might make a choice that you feel is correct or positive, or have neither. It's neutral. But then it becomes an issue, and then you take accountability and say, okay, I agree that was not a great choice. So what did I learn from this? What do I need to do to rectify this? And going forward, how do I move forward from this? And what did I learn? And so I that's happened to me. I think about 4 times in the whole time we've been doing this, where I got my ass handed to me because of stuff that I've said on here. And, because it's a show, it's out there. So you can't undo it once it's out there. But as a result, I've learned, it's instilled in me of who am I? Who do I want to be? How do I want to represent myself? And looking at the term Badass Buddha, I want that balance. I want that balance of being a kind-hearted individual, being known for my compassion, but also being known to be tough and willing to stand up for what I believe in and myself, and to stand up for other people. So it's been, again, like, this has really been a tremendous amount of growth for both Gladiator Guru and I. We've changed over the years of doing the show, and we've gotten closer together as remember, like, Gladiator Guru, I started this show and we just were kind of friends, but we didn't really hang out all that much. We hung out a little bit, but it was one of those things that she thought of me and said, oh, if I'm going to do this with somebody, I want to do it with her, which was mind-blowing to me, because we weren't really hanging out that much to know each other's personality, and it just jived. And as a result, she and I got closer. Oh, I'm getting emotional. And she's become my best friend. And she's a wonderful person, like a wonderful, wonderful person. And she comes across like she's this tough chick, which she is, but she's also become this beautiful, compassionate. She's always been compassionate, but it's beautiful. We're like a yin and yang. She's softened, and admittedly so, because she says that. Mm-hmm. But then I've also toughened myself as a result of being around that spirit of hers, which I'm very grateful. And as a result, we really worked together well. And then as a result, that beautiful energy spread out to everybody in the tribe, because we know that some of you have gone through some stuff. We know that some of you have were over in this level and then went beyond it. And we're so happy that so many of you have like learned so much about yourself. And it wasn't that it was us that did it. It was an inspiration. You know, it wasn't just us that did it. It was one thing that we might have said that sort of took you to a different level, and then you went with it. But in the end, it was your own courage that got you to the next level, because you could hear everything from anybody that's positive and inspiring. But until you take the step to do it, that's why, bringing back to I'm trying just means I'm not really, I'm just telling myself.
Yeah. I'm telling you to, so you can get off my back.
But if you could say, like, and my sister wrote, I can't just means I won't.
I won't.
That's all that means. I can't do it. It means I won't do it. And when we honor ourselves to be honest and say, okay, I'm going to be honest and say, all right, I can't means I won't. How come I won't do it? What is preventing me from not doing it? What is it fear? Is it I'm so used to what I have in my life. I'm afraid of the change. Even if my life sucks, I'm so afraid of the change that I'm not willing to take that effort because I don't know what's on the other side. And we're hoping that from our own experiences, because we didn't know what was on the other side, and so many elements of our lives during the time that we've done Viva, that some things we stepped in worked, and some things we stepped in was like stepping in something that you didn't want to step in, a big pile of crap. And then we just wiped our shoe off and then went into a different direction.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. That was beautiful. You know, sometimes it's always amazing to me when somebody speaks of me the way you do, because I'm like, me? Like, whoa. Because sometimes I'm like, I can't stand myself. But it's that is beautiful. You know, and you brought me to something, yes, Gail, from the heart. You brought me to something that throughout the 4.5 years, I can say with pride and with gratitude, I'm intentionally thanking these two individuals for the 4.5 years. They have been consistent on Viva, and these two individuals are my family. They're blood, and as you all know, I have a daughter, and she has a family, and I have a son, and he has a family. And the only one of my daughter and my son is my son-in-law, Argenis, who has been a constant, and he shares it, and he talks about it, and he watches it if he's at the barbershop and we're on, and he'll watch it there. And so thank you, Argenis Torres, for always supporting Viva Cafe con Leche, for believing in what we have to say, and always listening to me ramble when we are together. And to Iritza Martinez Shop, because not only has she been on since we started, and she's become vocal of you know, after her years in darkness, and that she shared this show. I'm sure everybody would be like, oh shit, it's Tuesday, here goes Iris with all her inboxes. But thank you for that, and thank you for all the people that you have brought on, because they've made a difference in our lives, like, you know, Madeline. Hi, Amanda. And so I just wanted, before we get caught up, I just wanted to say thank you, especially to my family members, because sometimes, like Leanne has always been on, but sometimes it's so hard, you know, for family to, I don't know, be available. I don't care. So I thank you.
She was West Coast, so a lot of times it was very early for her.
Who was West Coast?
She used to be
Leanne. I remember, yeah. And she's been there. So I think it's beautiful. My sisters will come on and off, but hardly not. But it's okay. So what I'm saying is that I wanted to show my gratitude to those two individuals.
Yes.
From immediate family. But I wanted to say too that, you know, I believe in Margarita, in the Gladiator guru. And I believe in what I have to share, and you know, what I have to learn. I believe that there's still a lot of learning to go on to give me better clarity moving forward. I have been here and with all the ups and downs of Viva, all the planning and everything else, I just want to say that it was well worth it. It's the abundance of knowledge that I have acquired throughout Viva Cafe con Leche has been immense, and it's been so welcomed. And in every part of what I do, it's like you can open that drawer and say, okay, this from this episode, I remember this, so let me apply it. So I'm saying, I pray that you all have a takeaway from Viva. I pray that what we have isn't the badass purple phone pretty. She's texting away.
No, I'm writing some when I do direct comments on Facebook. I've been doing this all along. I have to do it on my phone.
I know.
Yeah.
So Kimberly,
But
hello.
don't worry, I'm not texting directly. Yes, you talk amongst yourselves. I'm like busy on my phone.
So what she said with the ego and the judgment and discernment, you always have discernment, even for yourself, because we're our own worst bully, and we've known that. Viva Cafe con Leche, it has changed my life. It's helped me build that self accountability that I never had. I did things when I wanted, and that's it. I showed up. I popped up like slut magic at my own event an hour later. So when I tell you,
you used to piss. I remember that one.
Get in line, because honey, you at the back of the line with people I used to piss off being late. And I was like, I don't wear a watch, never have, and I'm never late. Really, I'm always on time. It's the human world with their hands up on the clock and everything. But I've always been late, even to my own events. Both my weddings. My first wedding, I was 4 hours late. My second one, I think I was like 45, 50 minutes late. And
4 hours.
It's so good, because you know what? I always show up, and I always show up like, woo, let's party. I've always been the life of the party. So what I'm saying is, it's taught me accountability. Having to be here on time, which didn't happen a lot in the beginning, because it just wasn't part of my personality. And but here we are, and we did it. So for me, it's taught me accountability. I have what's that word I'm trying to find, badass? It instilled that within me to know, okay, let me do this. And it's not so detrimental to my lifestyle. It actually feels good. I had something to do at this specific time twice a week, and we did it, and we have fun. And sometimes I overtalk, not very many shows, but sometimes I overtalk.
Sometimes every show.
Go ahead.
The only time you never overtalked was when you got like the connection was bad, and you.
I said that to be a funny.
I know. I'm like adding on to.
Go ahead.
I think that I'm thinking back to, as you're talking, it made me think back to the fact that because we did this as a video, obviously, we had, I have to say that, as opposed to like both of us being in a live studio, you know what I mean? Like at that moment in time, we've been able to come in late. We've been able to walk away from the camera, each one of us, get coffee, go to the bathroom. We've had where like the connection wasn't so good. We would pop off for a minute and pop off. And we have to thank all of you for being patient with that. I mean, there's been times where like we'd text message each other while we were on to go. I have to go to the bathroom. We have to end the show. We were like 5 minutes over. I really have to go to the bathroom, or I have to I'll be right back. I have to. And after a while, we didn't even text each other. We would just, shut the camera off, and with the other one would just talk, because we didn't, it didn't matter, or I'm running late, or I can't get on, or whatever. And we would just go about our way. So it's so funny because in the beginning, and I know this is mostly me, I was more like uptight about like, oh, okay, we have to start at this time, and we have to be careful, and we have to make sure we have the connection. And then there was a point where it was like, who the hell cares?
And I would tell her, lighten up. It's okay. And I know that made her more angry. But I was like, we're on.
Yeah, in the beginning, but it really, when I let go of that piece of it, you know what? I have to say thank you for that, because it helped me also when I was doing a lot of online stuff. I started to let go of, you can't control things. And that's the beauty of it, is that once you accept the fact that sometimes you can't control things, you can't control the internet. Like literally right before we got on this morning, Gladiator girl got everything ready, and then she goes to get on, and she's calling me going, it's making me redo something. Then I said, okay, fine. Then I was on, right? I go, that's good. We had a few minutes left. I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. And I go to get the coffee. I come back, and it disconnected me on my end, and it kept throwing me off and saying there's no internet. I said to her when we finally got on, I'm like, I think something was telling us it didn't want us to get on today and do this, because it kept throwing me off and throwing me off. And I'm going, what in the hell's going on? Like I have full bars, and then I don't have full bars. So it's so interesting to just, instead of panicking about it, just be like, there's nothing I can do about it.
That's how I've always lived my life. If I can't fix it now, then I'm not going to stress it out. Always have.
And I thank you for that, because you really helped me let go of that. And that was a big, and that, believe me, was a big piece for me. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, I remember, because I still was at my house where hola, Anita. When I had told, she was upset. It was around the time that she was upset that I couldn't be there on time. And I said, you're a big, do you feel that you have a controlling issue? And she was like upset. Remember that? And you're like, I don't. And I said, oh, okay, you don't? I'm not going to. Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. We know. She knows. And I think that's how we learned more about each other. Like, I don't know if Kathy asked if we ever told the story of how we met. Hola, Marina. But what I can tell you is that, you know what, it's not always unicorns and rainbows, especially when you love someone and you care about someone, you tell them the truth, and it's going to hurt, and you might argue. It happens with Edith all the time. We argue, and I tell her, when I stop telling you stuff, that means I don't give a shit. And that's just the gladiator and me, always ready for something. But you learn that when you care for someone, the uncomfortable conversations must be had. The disagreements will, because if you don't know about yourself, to show your ass. So the people closest to you have learned you, and then they bring it to you, because it's more of a growth, right? Like, listen, Margie, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to be like, I don't do that. What are you talking about? That you always got something to say, blah, blah, blah. But then I'm going to sit back, and then it's going to come to me. Because then sometimes we need somebody to put that mirror in front of us. So value those people. Those are your people. Not the ones that are going to be like, oh, yeah, let's do it. Get it. And all they want to do is have a good time, but they never check you. They never correct you. They never have that deep thing, that deep conversation, that's going to help you grow. That's going to fertilize, your seeds.
Well, I do want to say one thing about that sometimes it's not that people don't necessarily care if they don't want to correct you. It's sometimes too that it takes two things. It takes a person to be strong enough to correct somebody that they care about, and then it takes the other person, like you said, to be able to receive it and then not take it personally, and then do something with it, whether they feel that they need to change or not. So sometimes people don't say things because they already know the response and they don't feel like hearing it. Like they already know that there'll be resistance, and they're like, It's not even worth it.
But what would you call that? For those listening, what would you call that? If I love you, I'm going to tell you the truth. If you don't like it and you want to come at me some kind of way, all right, that's still a reaction for me.
Yes,
I mean, you heard what I had to say. You don't
right.
want to talk to me, that's fine. But I loved you enough to say, this is what you're doing, and there's no involvement in what you're doing with the things you say you're going to. But I gotta love you to say that. If I don't give, if we're not that close, I'll throw hints, because everybody deserves somebody to try and guide them on the path they said they want to be. I know, whatever. Sometimes people mind their business, but you know what? If you can save a life, I'm okay with you being mad at me. And by saving a life, I mean dreams. I mean the vision, the goals that can be turned into visions. However the hell that goes, I can't even think straight. Sometimes I'm not afraid to speak my part. I don't care. You're going to accept it or you're not going to accept it. I'm going to say my part. I'm going to walk away saying I did my job, if my assignment is to be in an uncomfortable situation, like I had to do when I was assigned by Yahweh to take care of my mom, and I'm like, why would you do that when this woman was never there for me? And then 4 years later, I fell in love with her again. Sometimes you do what you're assigned to do. You speak your mind. I care. I am very compassionate with people. My delivery sometimes comes out as being very aggressive, but I'm not, mi gente. I'm just very assertive. And if I love you, I'm going to be extra. So I don't find a problem. I'm not going to assume how someone's going to take what I'm going to say. Half the time, I know they're going to be pissed off. Oh, you think my very close siblings will say, shut up. You think you know everything. And I'm okay with that. But guess what? I planted a seed, and now when I'm not around, they're going to sit there and they're going to think about it. It's like the wheels are turning now. So if I'm the messenger in an uncomfortable situation, I'm going to be the messenger in an uncomfortable situation. And that's it. And I love me. That's what I said in the beginning, because I'm awesome. And if I don't think I'm awesome, then who else is going to think I'm awesome? Hola, Milagro! Stephanie's here. So I and that's why, Kathy, if you're still on, say hello. That's why, what better person to do Viva with me than somebody who was totally opposite of me. See, I know that I'm this great ball of fire, right? I know that I am what I've been told all my life, that I'm too much. I didn't believe them. I'm just enough. I have just the right amount of sazon and adobo. Okay, with some Parmesan cheese. I'm good. And so I needed someone that's gonna come in, very
what? Different. Let's hear this.
Very peaceful. Yeah,
you saved yourself by saying different.
No, you are. That's why. Very different, very soft.
I was different. I don't think I was. I don't think you're making it sound like I have no assertiveness whatsoever.
No, because you're interrupting me. Shh. I said very different.
I'm sorry. Do I have a little something right
here? Very calm to meet my non-calmness. So it was a perfect combination, because her technique of life coaching was different from my whole personality. So although we didn't know each other that well, it was the energy I received from her when I asked her to be a guest speaker. When Lillian, Francia, and I did the yearly galas of Justa Tu Corona.
Yep.
And I think it was our very first Justa Tu Corona. We needed a pianist. And my brother-in-law, Frankie, said, oh, my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, she's a great speaker. She does all these things. She's a life coach, and she'll be good. And I said, okay, then introduce me. I took his word for it. So here we are. That was 2000. That was March 2018 or June 2000. I don't know. It was one of those. 2018. Yep. Since then, we've known each other.
Yep.
But it was in 2020 that I instant, boom, off rip, said, I'm going to call Lori. Why? Because she had that softness. She was the calm to my storm. And that's what we needed to balance out Viva Cafe con Leche. So it's like it was a good lift. It was that good seesaw ride that nobody jumped off and left the other one hanging. So, every personality has something different. Everybody is like, I was telling, we had a conversation yesterday, and I said, everybody's a racist in their own way. And everybody, I don't care what religion you claim, is judgmental. People will get pissed off.
Human nature. I don't think
the person closest to them, but whatever it is that's happening, or that I feel you're not moving too fast. My cousin Iris, I don't know if anybody up here knows Amanda, and she flows at her pace. Edie has this speedy. She has this energy flow that I think only she possesses in the world. So she flows. She flows. And I'm a Sagittarius. I'm like Speedy Gonzalez.
Sounds like a judgment to me.
I do like 5 things in one shot. Like I want to decorate it and staple fake grass to my wall to create a backdrop while I'm doing things, getting ready for the sphere the next day. And she's like, how can you be doing that? We got to be doing it. Boom. That's how I work well. So and then I see her cutting a fabric, and she's cutting it with just such intention. Like, and I just want to grab the fabric sometimes. But she's teaching me. You see, we're learning. She's learning how to put, light a couple firecrackers up her ass, and I'm trying, and I'm learning how to just work in the dim essence of light and just breathe and do it. So everybody has that somebody, is what I'm saying. Nothing's perfect. It's not like I said, unicorns and rainbows all the time. We have disagreements, but you don't cut people off for that. And I think we learned that here on Viva. And I think, since March that we met, 2018 till now, there's been a lot of conversations, been a lot of learning, been a lot of teaching. I told the Badass the other day that when I got here, I had left some books and I was reading it. And I'm going to show it because it deserves to be shown. Hold on. And I was reading it again, and I got emotional. I got emotional, and I read my chapter, and Gail is in this book with us too. And my chapter is Cuerpo de Guitarra, sin la cuerda, which is the shape of a guitar without the chords, because you got the little muffin top and the back fat's coming now all of a sudden. Ooh, what am I going through? Changes, ladies. And I read my chapter, and he talks just about that, and I was like, oh, Maron, I needed to. Oh, Ivana, you read it? And this is book 3, and I had to tell the Badass, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this trilogy. Because even if I can go back and read the story I wrote and get emotional and get empowered, and feel that breath of, I already wrote this, I lived it, I read it, how did I forget it? And that's the reminder that Viva kept saying. Sometimes we need to revisit things in order to spark that flame to bring us back to where we're supposed to be, because life is going to get in the way. So I really hope that Viva has led you to places you didn't think you would be at this point in your life. Go ahead, Badass.
Well, we're actually coming to the end of our time. So
no, are we?
Just understand that this is the last show. This is the last one for the morning shows. We've talked about coming back and doing, some evening, like a 2-hour special or a 90-minute special at night. We've talked about for 2 years doing a book called Viva Your Vida. And we still plan to do all of that stuff. We found that everything else would kind of take precedence. I don't like to use the term God in the way, because we allow things to get in the way. So there were so many things that took precedence that we allowed to do that, so that we didn't write the book, because there were so many times we actually put out the chapters. we created the titles for the chapters, what we were going to talk about, and then we would put it down, and then Gladiator Guru would bring it up again, and I'd say, oh yeah, that sounds great, and then we would table it again, and then life would just appear, and we would go with that flow. So I think that we're opening that space up now to do that, because we both feel that it's going to be it's going to be a good book, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And then do some celebration stuff, do a 2-hour special or 90-minute special, have like a weekend getaway where it's like a Viva retreat or something like that. But to have everybody in person, we've talked about that for 3 years, to have it in person, to where we get to actually hug and meet everybody. So it's not goodbye. It's just, we're going to see you in a different venue. Like, we're going to see you in a different, what's the word I'm looking for? Element.
Yes.
And then, and the beauty is we encourage you to keep growing. She and I have not really discussed what we want to do with the page, the Facebook page, to see if we want to post things periodically. It's something that we probably will do to keep the page active, but we hope that you'll still be engaging. We have all these videos. What would I say? 343 videos over the last 4.5 years. Go back and look at some of these. If you didn't come on to Viva until like a couple of years ago, go back to the beginning ones and rewatch things.
Yes.
And enjoy the conversation. And look at us, how much younger we looked when we first started.
Oh my God, and my hair was beautiful and long, and then it went on through all the changes. But let me tell you, that's what we want you to remember, Viva. And if you can go and just sporadically look at some of the past videos, you will see the changes, but
yes,
it's all outside of us. And remember, everything we taught was about everything you need is within you.
Yes.
Everything you are, without people poking and de-threading your beautiful satin dress, is within you. So you have to go back and look at all the changes we've endured, because some of them were in the midst of pain. Like when the week my mommy was dying, and I still popped up on Viva, and it was just a normal Viva because I needed to do that. So, go back. And whenever you're having a hard time, if I can leave you with this, go back and watch some of the old Vivas and listen, and then come and look at the last one. And we've all changed. The reason, Milagros, I'm so happy that she wrote how this book changed her life. And she's honored to have been a part of it. We're honored because I'm in that book too. What? So go back, and because things happen and changes occurs, and you might feel defeated, but you're not, because remember, if I leave you with anything, remember, you are the hero in the bow, which means in order that archer has to pull back that arrow. And sometimes we feel that nothing we do is moving us forward, but we feel like we're going steps backwards. You gotta pull that arrow back before you can launch it forward. So whenever you feel like nothing's working in your time, that everything, you're gonna give up because whatever, I've done this and I lost money. Stop complaining. I hate people who constantly complain. Stop looking for excuses. Flow with it. Because if all of a sudden you feel like you're being pulled by the back of your neck and you're being pulled back, just stop. Keep your faith. Keep the hope. Keep the knowing that you are going to be where you said you were going to be, if it's meant for you, and then you're going to launch forward.
Can I add to that? Because I love that analogy. Because think about this for a minute. We always think, oh my God, I'm taking steps backwards and I'm not going in the direction. But if you look at it from what you just said, it's not taking a step backwards. It's you're being pulled back, and then it allows you to see the bigger picture in front of you, and then launch forward. I love that, love that, love that. That's such a great way to look at it. So, but you still can take steps backwards. The backwards is when you're making the excuses, when you're saying all that, that's the backward step or stagnation. But when you're being pulled back, that's your higher power is jumping in to say, you need to pull back, look at the bigger picture, and then when you're ready, we're going to launch you. And I'm happy to be one of those people that gets launched, because that would be just the most incredible. Imagine that, just visualize that, you getting pulled back like that, and then launching and looking over at your path as you're getting launched. It's sort of like when you play a game, a board game, and you pick the card or you roll the thing where you get to go forward, like all these extra spaces. You get to skip this whole section. You're like, yes, this is great, because it is about the journey. They say it's not about destination, it's about the journey. I always say it's about both, because you get to the destination and you learn, and then the next destination presents itself. So you might be at that destination for a little while longer, and you might be at that destination for a short period, but it is about both of them. And sometimes the journey, we want to go a little faster in some of that, because we've already been there. We don't need to relearn what we already know. So we can be catapulted like that. And whenever you get stuck, go back to The Alchemist, reread The Alchemist, because that is all about thinking you know what your destination is, and then learning as you go, and then getting to a destination, and then staying there, and then finally finding what you need, and then realizing that your whole idea of what you thought changed over.
You had it all along.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I get from it. Remember, you are the greatest gift in this world. You are unique. There's no one like you. People can copy you. People can pretend to be you, but they could never be you, because you are unique. So delve within, inquire within, mi gente. That's all I'm saying. Milagros, I see that you're driving. Inquire within. Get to know who the hell you are. And then go out there and spread that magic, because you were born on purpose. You exist on purpose. Viva your vida, and the Badass Buddha was telling you all that. I believe it's the timing. We wanted to do it, but because we vibrate at a high frequency, we knew it wasn't time, but we just couldn't put our fingers on it as to why. So, we moved on with life. But when it's time, like everything else, it's going to be phenomenal.
Right.
So make sure you support that book when it does come out, because it will be coming out soon. And Milagros, thank you for everything. Iris, I mean, everybody on here. That's right. That's why my product is both flow. I go with the flow. And just check yourself. That's all. If I can say one important thing is inquire within. Stop looking for excuses because this, because that, because this, and that. Trust yourself. Be magical.
So let's do this. We know we end a certain way, which we will do, but let's do one last thing before we go, because we didn't do it in the beginning.
Yes.
Let's do our mantra and say it loud and say it proud, and then we will sign off for our morning show. Here we go. Say it loud. Milagros, you're in the car. You could scream this one. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And I keep it real.
All day, no doubt. Now go out there, dress up pretty, put your big girl panties on, put your favorite outfit on, your shoes, put that lipstick on, get out there and conquer your day as only you can.
That's right. And we will see you soon. It's not goodbye, so we'll see you very soon. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
Thank you, Kathy. And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, never forget and order the earrings from me if you must. Breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste. I also have teas named Breathe in the Beauty and Breathe Out
the bullshit, man.
Yes.
Bye, everybody.
Chaucito. Adios.